Hey everyone, Kyle once again. Welcome back to another movie review. And for this movie review, um, now a couple years back, I realized that there was an original version of this, which I didn't know about because what I thought of the film I was watching growing up, I thought that was like an original thing. I didn't know it was a remake, until a couple years ago, until I found the original. But for this original version, I like, and which I'll get into details why. So today I'm reviewing the original, The Incredible Journey, by which means the original technically the original Homeward Bound, The Incredible Journey. But here it's just called The Incredible Journey. Now, just for sake, I already did reviews of these a long time ago, So here's the 1993 remake, which I highly enjoy. It's one of my personal one of my favorite Walt Disney films, whether it's animated or live action. And then I also reviewed the sequel, Homeward Bound 2: Lost in San Francisco, which I also do enjoy. So I already did reviews of these a long time ago, and they're still up, so you can feel free to check these two out, But which I now call it's a remake. This is a classic because I grew up with this film. I always enjoyed this film, loving this film growing up. It's one of my all-time favorite Walt Disney films, and I'll never get tired of watching this. And of course the sequel, Lost in San Francisco, I also do enjoy though. I still prefer the first one though, but this film is really close to the first one though. But it didn't matter because I still enjoy both these films. Now, so that's said and done, get into the original, The Incredible Journey, which was released in 1963, and 30 years later then came the 1993 film. And like I said, it's two dogs and one cat, but which I didn't know, back then, of course, but back then I didn't know there was an original one. So now do I prefer the 1993 film? Yes, of course, but after watching the original film, I do like the film, and because, well, positive thing, well, I don't think there was no negative things I can say about the film. I like the way the look of the film is, the look of the early 60s films, like the way how the wilderness look, the shots and stuff, so I like the atmosphere of the film. I like the music to it, some of like the music as the animals are going along on their journey, I like the music to it. I like the two dogs and the cat, of course they're not the same because they made, of course, with the 1993 film, they made changes, of course, but still. In this film, in the original, it's not a golden retriever, it's the leader, it's a Labrador retriever, Then instead of, and which is, it's not named Shadow, it's named Lua. And then the other one, the Bull Terrier, which is not an American Bulldog, it's a Bull Terrier, its name is Bodger, not Chance. And then the cat, which is a male, it's like instead of the 1993 film, it's a female, Sassy. And it's not named Sassy, his name is Tao, T-A-O. So the cat is a male in this, not female like in the original one. And then there is no voice, there's no voices on the dogs, like in the 1993 film, they through their thoughts, they have their voices, like in the original, Don Michi voices Shadow, Michael J. Fox voices Chance, Sally Field voice Sassy, which all three of them, they always did a really good job as the voices though. But here in the original, there was no voices of the dogs, or no thought, translating through their thoughts, They're just well, they were an ordinary cat ordinary pets though, but they just I don't know, speaking to the dogs, or the cat. And there was some similarities that they put that watching this, I can see why they put those in the remake, because there were some things that was in the original that they did put in the remake that I realized, which I'll get to, But it opens up, with this narrator, voiced by Rex Allen. I think it was all right. He was not that bad of a narrator. This guy narrates with how these animals are, what their personalities are, and narrating what they're doing on their journey and such. So the guy who does the narrator, he was decent. He was not that bad at all. Just like how the way the film looks as an early '60s films. Like I like the locations, where they're shot, So but it opens up, with these pets, which they're in this Well, also the thing is they said that where they're traveling is through the Canadian wilderness, and I don't think that was not in the 1993 film. They were not in the Canadian wilderness. It was a different kind of wilderness, They're the three pets. They're at this man's place, which he's not the owner. He's just looking after them, And there's a narrator talks about them as the pets, because they what was it which the original family is miles away, and when the guy is looking after them, I think he's a relative of the family. He's a relative of the family though, but which I'll get to why. And he says, the time is like duck season, so duck season. Every time I hear the word the tagline duck season, I just think of the pun in the famous Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, Elmer Fudd sing, duck season, rabbit season, duck season, rabbit season, But the guy he like it's like almost like they plays it like in the remake, But like how the original the guy he leaves a note, to for the people who are coming to watch them, as he goes away, Same thing in the 1993 film where the woman was looking after them. She leaves a note in the barn, though, but when she closes the door, one piece of the paper flies away and leaves them a different note on the table, But here, with the note, Teo the cat, he walks across the mantle and he causes the two papers to drop while one falls to the floor and one of them lands in the fireplace and gets burned, So as the three animals that they watch as the guy leave, and as the narrator describes, it felt like they've been deserted. So when Lua, the lavender retriever, looks up, sees some geese in the sky, that's heading home. Sorry. So now he gets the idea that he decides to go home. So the reason, like, he sees some geese, flying home, and so he decides to go home, And the other Bodger and Tail, they decided to go out to follow him, and which like in the remake, like with Don Michi as Shadow, like I'm going home, And there's also another thing that the leader, who Lua, he's the retriever, not golden retriever, Labrador retriever. He's really the young one, while like in Homeward Bound, it was Shadow who was the oldest, and he's the leader though. But in this though, the leader is a young dog, while the bull terrier, Bodger, he's the older one, So it's like, in Homeward Bound, Shadow was the oldest and the wiser dog, and Chance was a young and goofy, playing around, Well, it's like the opposite around, except Lua's the youngest one, is young dog, and while Bodger is the older one, you know. So as they're walking, you know, and as the narrator telling about what they're doing on their journey, how they think, and how they know how each other with it, how they know what to do, you know. There's a spot where they rest on a bridge, and Teo catches a fish, you know, in the river, you know, and they take a drink there, you know. And as they continue to press on, and because Bodger is old, he gets tired very easily, so he lays down, you know. Teo sees like a small bird, and so he can give to Bodger to eat, you know. But of course he kills it off screen, so you don't see that though. Because it's a Disney movie, you don't want to see that, you know. And then two young bear cubs come in. The bear cubs, right, this scene right here. There it is. The cubs, they look cute, you know. They're just playing around. They see Bodger, you know, like they come up to him, you know, but then they go away, and which cubs they're just playing around, but they're like growling at each other, playing. Well, it's the thing that they're playing rough though, but they're really just playing around. But then the mother bear, hears them, which she thinks is a cry for help though. They think they're being attacked though. It's misunderstood though, but comes up to Bodger and starts attacking him, you know, which thinking that she thinks that he has done something with the cubs, though, which he hasn't. And then Teo comes in, starts stands in front of the bear and starts growling, you know, growling at the bear, you know, because in the film the cat and bull terrier Teo and Bodger, they're really close, you know, so they have a good friendship together, you know, so they're really close, you know. And then Lua comes in. He's barking, the cat's growling at it, and they scare the bear away, you know. And then Teo leaves. It gives Bodger the dead duck, you know. And then they continue on with their journey, you know. So of course that's what the remake. In this original they counter bear, and the second one they counter bear just really brief, you know, as the bear stands up and, you know, Chance is like doesn't know the bears until he sees it, you know. Oh yeah, I recommend the drought, you know. But yeah, so they counter bear in this, you know, when they briefly counter bear in that film. So as they're going along, then Bodger sees this old man who's a hermit, you know. He has his pet crow that's on his head, you know. And while that's going on, Lua sees a rabbit and chases after it, you know, to eat, you know. And chases through this field until he finally kills it. He has it in his mouth, you know. And which I thought was much funnier in the of course, I still prefer Homeward Bound more though, because I got more enjoyment from it because I grew up with the film, of course, and I never knew this film existed until a couple of years ago, you know. Like in the Homeward Bound one, you know, like when Shadow and Chance they were trying to hunt a rabbit, you know, and Chance misunderstood when Shadow said go, and he's like no, you know, and there goes the bunny, there goes the pup, there goes breakfast, you know. But of course, in this film, you know, Lua gets the bunny, you know, and they all go to the old man's place, and like Lua takes him, like puts it into a hole to save for later, as they are invited to the old man's house, you know. He gets some stew. He fixes up each of them a plate, you know, but of course you realize that he's a polite and kind old man, but on the other hand he's kind of he's like somewhat delusional, because when the animals are leaving, the guy says, you know, we should invite these people back in, you know. And you know, we should let them come back, you know, sometime, you know. So I guess maybe because he didn't realize these were animals, you know, because he says, do sit down, you know. But I guess he didn't know they were, Well, the dogs they sit down and they just sit there, and as the hermit is eating their other food, their other bowls on the table, So I guess he's a kind old man though, but I guess he's somewhat deluded because he calls them people. Oh, these are very nice people. We should invite them back. So, and then and then Loa takes the bunny and they carry on. And then comes the part where they're what happened next? They want to cross a river. They cross a river, and of course, like in the 19 like in Homeward Bound, Lua and Bodger they cross the river easily, but Teo doesn't like the water, so he tries to find another way across, just like in Homeward Bound, like with Sassy, she doesn't want to cross the river, but she finds her other way to cross and by on the stepping stones. And of course, it's the same thing that happens, where they go on this, they find this beaver dam, and Tail jumps across, which at first he makes it, but then the sticks they fall apart, and he drops into the rapid river, just like in Homeward Bound, where Sassy thinks she has it, but then she falls in the river, and then the dogs they try to save. Well, in Homeward Bound they try to save her, and same thing here. They try to save Teo, but he gets swept away by the river, and same thing on Homeward Bound, except, she goes over a waterfall, and they think that, well, he or she, because I'm talking about both films, the similarities, So, but in this film here, they're the Bodger and Lua, they just sit there on the shoreline, they wait there for a little while, waiting for him to come back, but as the narrator explains it, they come to the assumption that he's not coming back, so they press on without him. Same thing like in Homeward Bound, they press on without Sassy, And also like the similarities, between the two films, like the cat gets picked up by a human, like in Homeward Bound, Sassy gets picked up by this old man, takes him to his cabin, and here the cat gets brought in by this family, a little girl discovers him, when gets her parents, when they take the cat and, as he fully recovers, he just quietly runs back into the night to find the dogs, Except, and also in the Homeward Bound, the old man lets the cat go on his own. He's like, "Take care of yourself and steer clear of the river," So then, and well, on Teo's while trying to find his way back to the dogs, he encounters it's like similar in the Homeward Bound, but it's quite the opposite. Because in Homeward Bound, it was the two dogs that got attacked by a mountain lion, but here in the original, it's the cat that gets attacked by a much bigger cat, but instead of a mountain lion, it's a lynx. It's a big cat. It's a bigger cat, but it's not a mountain lion though. Mountain lions are much bigger than lynx though, but it's a bigger cat though than a regular cat. So yeah, it's like this similarities, but it's like the opposite. Homeward Bound, it's the two dogs that get attacked by a mountain lion, or a much bigger cat though. And here, it's the cat gets attacked by a much bigger cat, which is a lynx instead of a mountain lion. They chase the cats run up a tree, and then and then the cat runs inside this log while the lynx, which you see, it's like see his face like this, in front of the camera, which I thought was like, okay, we like see it's like it's wide open eyes, it's like it's in front of the camera like this, try to stick its head in the log, try to get to the cat, and which I thought was like, okay, this is what I thought was like randomly out of the blue, that all of a sudden this little boy with a rifle starts shooting the lynx and goes after, I'm like, okay. When I first saw it, I was like, this is like I know the narrator is explaining that, but at the same time I thought this is like just randomly out of the blue, just like out of nowhere, this little boy with a rifle comes out and starts shooting the lynx, I mean, it was kind of like I was like out of place, and just all of a sudden, randomly out of nowhere, out of the blue, this little boy with a rifle comes out. I'm thinking also, why would this little boy be with a real gun? I think isn't like that back in the day, little children aren't allowed to play with firearms, or shoot firearms. that's like only a nitpick though, but I'm saying like this is like random, you know, out of the blue. This little boy comes up with a rifle and starts shooting at the lynx, you know. That'd be which don't get me wrong, I still like the film though, but I think that's like the only thing I have a nitpick on, you know. So moving on, then the cat eventually meets up with the two dogs, you know, and they can carry on with their journey, you know. And then they well the two dogs, well before that and it's also the same thing like in Homeward Bound, you know, they encounter a porcupine, you know, instead of Chance the bulldog, you know, instead it's Lua the retriever, you know. He's curious about he's curious about the porcupine, you know, and then the porcupine hits him with its quills, sticks in his face, and same thing in Homeward Bound, you know, with the porcupine instead it's Chance that gets hit, you know. It's not the bulldog that gets hit with the quills in the original, though. It's the retriever does. So yeah, there's the similarities. Yeah, they both encounter a porcupine, you know. So, and then the two dogs they get to another house, you know. Except then the cat stays behind, not seen by the humans, you know. And the guy as he's taking all the quills off of Lua's face, Bodger comes and starts barking at thinking that you know he's hurting him, you know, but he's really not. He's trying to help, you know. And the two people they know that these two they really do know each other, you know. And then while that's going on, you know, the guy who was watching the dogs in the first place, he comes back while the two people that were supposed to be watching them, they thought that he had the animals, but it turns out he doesn't. So they wonder where the dogs went, and the who was that guy? The guy named John is his name. So the guy John, he comes to realize that he puts two and two together, thinking that well he remembers that the morning that he left, you know, and he knows that all of a sudden that they've gone home, you know, they've gone to their home, and they realize it's like over 200 miles away from their original home, so they didn't expect to survive that far, though. But John knows that they're on their way home, you know. So, um, trying to remember what happened. I'm trying to remember what happened next. Oh, like he calls the rangers to know where about the animals, you know, and trying to think what. Well, I think that was pretty much it. They soon after that, you know, where they find out from the people that they originally had them, like the family had the cat, and then they had the two dogs, you know, and they know about where they were, and they try and they have the map, thinking they're getting closer and closer, you know. And then also getting to the end, you know, where is it? Where the main guy John is his nephew's birthday. You know, he's his nephew and his family. They're the owners of the animals. So, and the birthday, you know, the kid makes a wish, you know, and John gives him his birthday present. It's at the to this thing at the kennel where they have a puppy bull terrier in his name, you know, and they're waiting to go get him, you know. And then they hear barking, you know, just like, you know, in the ending of like in Homeward Bound, you know, I think they hear it, and then one at a time they start coming, you know. Um, but yeah, the Lua comes up first, you know, and then Teo, you know, and then which the kid, you know, it's also the same thing like in Homeward Bound where the kid who owns the older one, like the kid in Homeward Bound, you know, Peter. which really enough, the kid in this film, his name is Peter, you know. So this is like the same thing like in Homeward Bound. It's like he was just too old, you know. He didn't make it, you know, until Bodger comes out down the hill and starts going towards him, you know. I still prefer the way I still prefer the way how Homeward Bound was done better, because how the way especially with the music that was done by who did the music in this? I forget who did the music to this. I want to get the guy's name. Bruce Broughton. Bruce Broughton. I like the way how the music was done at the end of the film. You know, like how, because Shadow is how he's slowly climbing up the hill. You know, when Peter, you know, and the way how the music was done as they're both running towards each other and they're overjoyed to, you know, to see each other. You know, I always thought the way that was done better though. But regardless, I still like how the way, because the ending is the same thing as this, you know, as Homeward Bound though. But I still like the film, you know, and like they said, they each run down the hill one at a time, you know, when Peter thinks his own dog, you know, because they thought he didn't make it because he was too old, you know. Same thing that happens in Homeward Bound, you know. He doubts it, but then Shadow and Bodger, they come down the hill and they both run at each other to, you know, overjoy with happiness, you know. So now they finally came home, you know, and as the narrator ends it by saying, this is the end of their incredible journey. So yeah, I like the original the Incredible Journey. You know, I like the film because I like the way that especially I like the atmosphere. I like the atmosphere of in the film. You know, like all the shots of the wilderness. You know, I like the way how I just like how certain wildernesses look. You know, and it looks good in this film. You know. The music as it was going along during the film, I like the music in this film. The narrator who did the narrating in this film, he was decent enough, you know, explaining how these dogs, what their personalities are, and how they know how to think with each other, you know, and what to do and such. You know, I thought the narrator did a decent job, you know. The animals here, they really do a good job as well. But you know, the Labrador Retriever, the Bull Terrier, and I forgot what kind of cat was it? Sassamine cat, I think it was. How the Sesame cat, Sasamine's cat. I forgot how the name is, the species name is. The animals, they do a good job, you know. So yeah, overall I do like the original Incredible Journey, but I would still prefer to watch this more because, you know, I grew up watching this film for a long time. I've seen this film over 100 times. You know, I never got tired of it because I still love this film. You know, and of course back then I did not know there was an original Incredible Journey. You know, I did not know that. You know, until I heard about it for a couple years ago. You know, so I'm like, wow. For first I thought, wow, there was an original. But I do like the original Incredible Journey. It was pretty good. I could see why, you know, and because I also know the positive thing about it. You know, I like just the look of the film because it looks like an old early '60s film. I just like the way how the film looked, you know. So that's another good thing about it. But I could pop in again and watch it though. But I would still watch Homeward Bound, The Incredible Journey more, you know, because it's a childhood favorite of mine, you know, and because also I like although it was good to see there was no voices in the original of the animals though, but I also like the voices of the three animals in this, you know, Don Michi, Michael J. Fox, and Sally Field, you know, but I love Homeward Bound, so you can still check this out on my original review, which I've done a long time ago, and you can also check out the sequel as well, which I also do enjoy, Homeward Bound 2, Lost in San Francisco, you know. So you can check those two reviews out though. But I like The Incredible Journey, so it's a classic of an older Walt Disney film, you know. So I give it a good thumbs up. and it has a 7.1 on IMDb. That's good enough, you know. Of course, this one has a 6.9 IMDb. It's good though, but I would still put it much more higher, you know. And also, from which really enough, both of these films, both the original and the remake, both have an 88% on Rotten Tomatoes. Really enough, you know. So that makes it that these two are really. So this is a good original and a good remake, you know. So another to say about this is a really good remake, you know. Which at the time I grew up with it, I did not know this was a remake, you know, because I did not know there was an original about it, you know. So that's why I still prefer that over this, though. But I still like the original The Incredible Journey, you know. It's a good classic, old Walt Disney film, you know. But if you haven't seen it, go check it out, and also check out the remake and the sequel, you know. And you can also check out my original movie reviews for that. And I need to do a revisit movie reviews of these two, you know. It's only because I did these reviews a long time ago, so I need to do a revisit reviews of these one day, you know, down the road. So yeah, but the original Incredible Journey, it's a good old classic Disney film, you know. So thanks for watching. Take care and stay tuned on the next movie review. And like I said, if you haven't seen the other ones, go check it out, and also check out my original movie reviews of those later.